Good evening, everybody. I'm back. I'm your host, Jack Remington, the Jack Remington NFL channel. Let's have some fun this year. First, I want to show you what I've done. Never released a video in all my years of handicapping on YouTube before the season started. Used to wait till the very day of the first game that was picked, on whatever contest or whatever live betting I was doing with tickets, and then I would put it up on the video that same day. This year, I'm going to have a couple videos before the season starts. There's somebody I really admire, somebody who I think is extremely successful and is a better handicapper than me as far as I'm concerned. It's this guy, Mark Lawrence. He has a Mark Lawrence playbook. I know it's expensive. It was $18 when the tax was $21 or something here in California. And what I like about this magazine is that it has the NFL conventional strength of schedule. So that's right here, and I'll be referring to that. And that doesn't change, thank goodness. And the very next page, when you turn it over, it's the initial over-under win totals for each team, and I'm going to be talking about that. And then this one, it's got Lindy Sports. It's the first time I ever bought this magazine, but I couldn't resist temptation, folks. It's got Justin Herbert of the Chargers, which is AFC team, and Matthew Stafford for Los Angeles for the NFC. And this could be a Super Bowl preview. Could it not be? I mean, they both made the playoffs last year. The Rams were one bad play. I mean, they were 3rd and 2 on the 8-yard line of Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's defense was leaking oil, something terrible, in the snow. And Matthew Stafford used to playing in the snow, so I forgot Detroit was a dome team. Shame on me. I pushed because I bet too soon. I could have got to 6.5 and I got the win, but I got to push. I remember that I had to apologize to my friends on pregame.com. But game day, I got to 6.5, and I had a guy tell me I got to 7. I would have taken the 7, but because I was impatient, it cost me. Well, anyway, instead of calling Karen Williams for 3rd and 2 or a trap play or a Statue of Liberty delayed draw, he just threw some bullshit pass and he almost intercepted it. And on 4th, they went for a 4th and 2, and he threw it in the end zone. He was nowhere near a receiver, and that was the end of the game. If the Rams had won that game, they destroy Kansas City in the Super Bowl. And I remember saying it at the time. Well, anyway, this book is good because it talks about how many players were starters returning. It says 10 on offense, 8 defense, and their opponents coming back. Stuff like that. I mean, it has good stuff in here. I'm only going to talk about a few teams. I'm not going to go through a whole lot here just because I'm getting my feet wet back here. I'm having a heat wave here where I'm at in Southern California, and it is so hot. So I had the central air is not working. I'm running the fan, but the fan is, you wouldn't be able to hear me talking. So I got to film it quick because I'm dying in here, even though it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's talk about a couple of teams. Generally speaking, I'm just giving my initial thoughts about 3 teams in particular, and I'm going to name some quarterbacks in particular. Okay, the 3 teams I'm going to discuss today is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to talk about the Buffalo Bills. Those 3 teams, I'll make it quick and simple. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills first then. This Mark Lawrence, he has on his team, and his contributors to this wonderful magazine, PB Experts. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. Joe D'Amico, and I think it's his wife, Dion D'Amico, and she's a pretty good handicapper. Magic Mike Musica, Robbie Gaines, Matt Fargo, Brian Bitler. I'll turn the page again. Jim Feist, Jesus Feist, we used to call him decades ago. Kevin Rogers, Jeff Hockman, Kevin Thomas, James Patrick, Tony Mia. I think the one guy, Kochner, he passed. He was a pretty good handicapper. Got Mark Lawrence here, Rob Vinciletti, Victor King, Rocky Atkinson, Joe Nelson, and Doc Sports. And I'm familiar with all of them. I mean, I see some of them on pregame.com every once in a while with an ad or something. So he's got 18 people here, and out of the 18 people here, I'm just going, one by one. Mark Lawrence, to win the Super Bowl, has got Baltimore Ravens. Rob Vinciletti has Buffalo Bills. Okay, so that's 1 for Buffalo. Victor King's got Baltimore. It's 2 for Baltimore. Okay, Rocky Atkinson, Buffalo. 2 for Baltimore, 2 for Buffalo. The first 4 we just talked about of the 18. Number 5, Joe Nelson, Buffalo. Now it's 3 for Buffalo, 2 for Baltimore. Doc Sports, Buffalo. 4 for Buffalo, 2 for Baltimore. Turn the page. Joe D'Amico, Philadelphia. His wife, good-looking lady, nice handicapper. Dion D'Amico, Kansas City. Magic Mike Musica, Buffalo. Okay, that's 5 for Buffalo, 2 for Baltimore. Robbie Gaines, Buffalo, 6 for Buffalo. Matt Fargo, LA Rams. Brian Bitler, Philadelphia. Now we got Philadelphia's got 2 now. Jim Feist, who I think is an excellent handicapper. Buffalo, that's 7 for Buffalo. Kevin Rogers, Buffalo, 8 for Buffalo. Kansas City, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Okay. So we got 8 out of the 18, so that's what? 44% have picked the one team, the Buffalo Bills. On the way to work, I put the headphone in them. I got an hour and a half commute doing the one job. That's when the traffic is going good. The Caltrans is tearing up the 101 north and south again. There's delays every day and has been, and they're not even close to finishing. And I don't want to get into the Caltrans and the scam here in California. That's beyond the scope of the football video. Instead of listening to the politics, now the football season around the corner, I started listening to the football things. Some of the handicappers are very good. Some of them are okay. Some of them are okay. They're trying. I don't like to knock on their handicappers because I just don't think it's right. I mean, they got to be really bad or try to cheat somebody or make a false claim. I had Philadelphia Super Bowl when they didn't. They had the Kansas City Chiefs, and people like me remember that kind of stuff. So once I catch them doing that, I'll never fully trust them ever again. I do see a lot of Buffalo Bill fans, and the one guy, Pete Prisco on CBS, I had to watch him on the other day, or 2 days ago, he goes, I think Buffalo Bill's going to do it this time, it's their turn. I cannot believe he thinks like that. Okay, it's not turn, okay? No such thing as turn, okay? And Clint Eastwood is like, I don't have a script again. It just popped in my head, like usual. That movie, a great movie, Unforgiven, with Morgan Freeman and the late, great Gene Hackman, that sheriff, that badass sheriff. I'll see you in hell, will you, money, and you get a gunfight, but Clint Eastwood goes, deserves got nothing to do with it. That is so true. That's the line of the movie. So watch Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. He's one of the Hollywood's top stars and directors as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I'm watching these videos, and some of the guys they have sound handicapping principles. They use stats, they use PFF, they do this, outsiders, they do all this stuff. I'm using Football Reference. I got it on the screen right now. We'll talk about that in a second. And a lot of them are picking the Buffalo Bills. They just think that Josh Allen is going to do this, going to do that. I'm going to break it to you guys, okay? Josh Allen is never going to win the Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills. He just ain't. Save this video. Never. He's never going to win a Super Bowl with this team. They've done very little to shore up their defense. They were dead last in the NFL in third down stoppages last year, and they somehow won all their games. They were in a weak division. I understand all that. The wheels are about ready to fall off. Okay, they're still missing some pieces on the offensive line. They're riding the back of Josh Allen, and they're wasting that talent. Okay, and when Terry Pagula took over that team, whatever it was, I don't remember the exact year. I don't feel like looking it up. It's 120 in this office in here. I thought he was going to open up the purse strings and let the moss out of this vault and start paying some of these defensive players. Didn't do it. So Josh Allen's going to have to switch teams. Now, I made a small list here. It's not even a complete list. I got 6 quarterbacks that had to leave their first or second team and then move on to somewhere else before they either got to play a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. And can you remember Drew Brees? He was with the San Diego Chargers, and he had that separated shoulder. And it was his non-throwing arm, if I'm correct. But it doesn't matter. I know he had a separated shoulder, and the Spanos brothers and their sons, we don't want to pay him anymore, blah, blah, blah. Here comes Sean Payton. Hey, I'll take this guy. I got him for next to nothing. Drew Brees went to the New Orleans Saints, and he won a Super Bowl with him. He looked pretty good. Defense wasn't always the best, but he still won one. Matthew Stafford, he wasted the majority of his great career with these bad Detroit Lion teams. He goes to the Rams. He won one. Jared Goff, he lost with the Rams, right? But he's moved on to Detroit. Maybe he'll win one with Detroit. It's possible. The point is, he wasn't going to win it with the Rams at that time. Jimmy Garoppolo with the Patriots, and I remember Jimmy Garoppolo when he was second string to Tom Brady, and Brady got hurt for a couple of games, or he got the flu or something happened. Garoppolo looked like a world beater. He was the heir apparent, and then they traded him. He goes to San Francisco. He breaks his leg in like the second game, wherever it is. I mean, he's never been the same. Again, he had to leave the team. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2002, they had Brad Johnson, He's drafted by Minnesota. Had kind of so you're a big statuesque guy, you know. He was always getting sacked because he couldn't move. But he won the Super Bowl under John Gruden in Tampa Bay, didn't he? And the last one I got on my list here with just a quick reference without going through all the seasons. Like I don't have a couple hours right now to do that. It's Jim Plunkett. He was drafted by the New England Patriots, got benched, cut, re-signed. He won it with the Oakland Raiders. Al Davis and Tom Flores. Tom Flores is an underrated coach, by the way. So I just named you six quarterbacks that couldn't win it with their initial team or play the Super Bowl with their initial team. They had to move on. And Drew Brees, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brad Johnson, and Jim Plunkett. And I'm sure there's more, but that's another video for another day. Why have I got this up here? The Buffalo Bills, they just aren't as committed as they say they are. I see a lot of this dissension on the team, and a lot of finger pointing with this team. They just can't get over the hump with Kansas City. They have some problems, but Josh Allen is not the problem. Josh Allen is the answer, and they're just not putting the pieces together properly. And their defense their pass defense is not that good. I look for them to take a step back this year, and the AFC East is kind of improved, particularly New England Patriots. And don't count out those. I mean, I don't like what they did to Solly and the Jets, but Robert Solly built that defense and that Jets. I mean, if they can get healthy and if they can get some quarterback play, with Justin Fields, is that who the quarterback for the Jets is now? If he gets his head on right, and if he really applies himself and tries, he's a Jekyll and Hyde quarterback too, very temperamental. But if he's on, Jets can sneak up on some people. Okay, next thing we want to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the one where I'm going to lose subscribers for sure. The Los Angeles Rams defeated Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 in the Super Bowl. I had a hedge. I had the Bengals plus 4.5, and I put the Rams on the money line, so I won them both. And that's deep in my videos. I left that video still up there. Anytime you can middle a game, you're beating the system. And anytime you can even just like push on one side more on the other, just make sure you just can't push on one side and lose on the other, you're beating the system. That's pure great handicapping, and good on you. After that game, we were cronies in Camarillo, where my daughter lives, and the argument come out, and the guy said Joe Burrow choked, blah blah blah, and the kid got up in the old man's face. It was an older man, close to my age, and pretty good handicapper, by the way. Young kid, Joe Burrow's going to win 10 Super Bowls. He's going to beat your Tom Brady, blah blah blah. And he goes, no, he's not. He said he's never going to win a Super Bowl. And at the time, I didn't believe that either. Until the dysfunction gets seen in Cincinnati Bengals. And they got up and they almost got into a fight, and me and one of the bartenders had to stop it. I can't believe a young kid was going to hit an old man, but this is where we are today in today's world, folks. And I kept thinking, gee, I wonder how many Super Bowls Joe Burrow is going to win. And I thought he was surely going to win one or two, maybe, right before his career is over. But Joe Burrow is added to my list of Josh Allen that he's never going to win a Super Bowl with Cincinnati Bengals with this team here. He has to move on to another team. Why? Now, after 80 years of ineptitude, and Paul Brown is still the general manager. He's not. How old is he? 92. They have the Cincinnati Bengals. They have the smallest office staff in the NFL, and I got that today off of Colin Cowherd. A guy told me he knows how upset I am with Colin Cowherd. How Cowherd talks about Trump all the time. He keeps putting him down. So I unsubscribed from him. I don't contact Cowherd anymore. He said, just please watch this one video about the Cincinnati Bengals and just use them. Use the information to help your people. Okay, so I did. And I looked it up before I made this video, and Colin Cowherd is 95% accurate with this thing about the Bengals. They got the smallest office staff in the NFL, the smallest scouting staff in the NFL, and the most antiquated training equipment when they're at Riverside Stadium, wherever they play in Cincinnati. They are the last team to have any kind of upgrades. So in other words, they're tight-fisted. They won't spend any money. It's Delman and the Cardinals, the Bidwells, they were terrible for spending money. How many Super Bowls have they won? 0 between those two franchises. Now the Bengals look at their checkbook. They have spent more now than they ever have, and they've paid Joe Burrow, which is good. They paid the two wide receivers, which is good. But their defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, as of film time right now, he has not been re-signed. Now what kind of shit is that? I'm asking you. I'm asking a very fair question. Okay, I watched some of that preseason game highlights, and they averaged, the Washington Redskins the Commanders averaged 17.7 yards per run. I never saw a game like that in my life, and I've watched a lot of football, folks. You know I watch a lot of football. You know it. I don't have to sell myself on that. That just blew me away. And that's what they were, the starters on defense? Is that right? They need to sign this guy Hendrickson, but they don't want to pay him. Now, what's that going to do to the defensive players that they have now? Okay, including Hendrickson. Oh, they're going to play and they're going to go through the motions. And they're going to, when the coach is looking, they'll do an extra push-up, give me 20. They'll do all that. They'll go to Oklahoma drill back and forth and go run through the cones. They'll do all that. And yes sir, no sir. Lost 5 pounds a day, sir. They're going to do all that, okay? But they're going to play not to get hurt. And they're going to take plays off when they can. Don't think these okay, I was never a very good football player. I was too small. I was faster than hell, but I was too small. Every time I took a hit, I was laying on the ground. They said, get out of here. I tried for several years to make the varsity team when I was in high school. I'm here to tell you, I did all the reps. I did all that work. Okay, I know football, and you may not think I know it, but I'm telling you I do. My hat. What's my hat say? It says, "My dog lets me sleep on the bed." So that's the hat I'm wearing today. Well, anyway, you hear stories over the years, and you talk to people. I talked to a trainer. He gave me a New York Giants handbook, and I still have it somewhere. And if I can find it, I'll put it on the video to prove to you I have it. It was a test sheet that they would give their incoming scouts and their free agents to come in for camp, for a tryout. And it's an aptitude test, just basic, see what kind of brains you got. And the first couple of pages were kind of insulting, and they're so easy. And it gets a little bit harder. And all the NFL teams were allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, I have to be careful. I may not be able to show that book on YouTube. I might get sued. When I find that book, and I'm still friends with a guy who was a scout with the Giants. He was one of our card players, one of my customers at the casino. He knows a lot about football, and some things he's better than me. But long story short, he told me about the Cincinnati Bengals problem back then. So this is when they had Carson Palmer was a quarterback. They just couldn't get over the hump. So Joe Burrow is going to have to suck it up. Okay, they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm going to go under, and we'll get to the over-unders in a bit. I know the video's getting a little long. I got to cut some of this out. I got to start talking faster. But Joe Burrow is going to be just like Josh Allen. He's got to leave. He's got to go forward to another team. See if he can take his wide receivers with him. I mean, Tom Brady called Gronkowski out of retirement when he won that game when Tampa was hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Burrow, if you're out there, if you're watching this, tell your agent, okay, this year's locked in, but if we don't do something this year, I want out of Cincinnati. Break your fucking contract. Break your contract. Get out. Okay? Thank you. Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.